Top F1 teams spend over $400 million a year. Why do they do that? Well, one thing, winning is great advertising, but racing is also a test bed for new technology that eventually trickles down to the rest of us. At least that's what they'll tell you. But I've never seen a 200-mile-per-hour Corolla with downforce measured in tons. So what exactly does trickle down from F1? Well, it turns out that tech shows up in some unexpected places. Everything from airplanes to entire airports and electricity for homes and businesses. Of course, F1 tech also shows up in the occasional hypercar and some of the regular ones that you or I could buy. Hey F1, what have you freaking done for me lately? Huh? I freaking love you, I watch you, I nurture you, I talk so good about you. Let's figure out what you have done for me lately. Let's go! F1 has always featured some of the most advanced cars in the world, and that's partly because racing is a way for companies like McLaren, Renault, Williams, and Mercedes to develop and test new technologies. That eventually trickles down to the rest of us, but how that happens isn't very straightforward. If it was, we'd all be driving carbon fiber turbo hybrids making 1,000 horsepower like the AMG One. To see how technology moves from F1 to every day, we need to look back a couple of decades. Last year, we had an entire episode about the Williams FW15C, a revolutionary race car from the 90s that had analog brakes, traction control, a semi-automatic gearbox, active suspension, and was even tested with a CVT. The result of all that technology was a car that won over half the races it entered. But the FIA was afraid of runaway spending by other teams trying to catch up, so the FW15 became a victim of its own success. Most of its higher tech features were quickly banned. Many of those futuristic systems are still banned today. So if your car has ABS, traction control, or even a CVT, it's actually more high tech than an F1 car, at least in those particular areas. The thing is, none of that technology originated in Formula One. It was all developed independently for road cars long before being adapted by big budget F1 teams. Even steering wheel shifted semi-automatic transmissions, a feature almost synonymous with F1, the freaking little paddle shifters, they go all the way back to 1901, 50 years before F1 even existed. There's still horses carrying around buggies when a guy was paddle shifting his Model T. Well, not quite a Model T. More often than not, big F1 budgets are spent refining existing technology and not reinventing the wheel. The unique F1 technology that reaches the rest of us is more complicated than just bits of racing equipment that shows up in road cars. So to see what trickled down from modern F1, you gotta look beyond just cars. Engineering a winning racing car is about optimizing everything, squeezing the last 1% out of all the technology available. A crucial piece of that is aerodynamics. F1 cars need to generate massive amounts of downforce to achieve maximum cornering speed. But high downforce, that creates drag, and that slows the car and reduces fuel economy. F1 cars are only allowed to burn 110 kilograms of fuel over the course of a race, so they need to be efficient, and reducing drag while maximizing downforce is a constant battle. So back in the old days, engineers tackled this problem by building lots of models and testing how they performed in a wind tunnel. I built my own wind tunnel here at Donut Media, no big deal. I told you guys to send me whatever you want and I would wind tunnel test it. One guy sent me a pony with a Anyways, that is really time consuming and involved a lot of guess and check experimentation. Then came CFD, creamy, functional daddies. Oh, that's not what CFD stands for? My bad. What does it stand for? Computational fluid dynamics? Oh. Must have missed that class in engineering school. Then came CFD, Computational Fluid Dynamics. By running computer simulations, engineers can test thousands of designs in a fraction of the time. F1 engineers at Lotus Renault advanced the field of CFD so much that in the mid-2010s, they were hired by Boeing to adapt their F1 CFD program simulations for jets. Jet engineers have basically the same problem as F1 engineers. Downforce is just negative lift, and drag increases fuel consumption for planes too. So by using the CFD techniques developed for F1 to create a 1% decrease in drag, Boeing was able to reduce fuel use and CO2 emissions, producing a 14% reduction in operating costs. And that's pretty much a win for everyone. But computer simulations at F1 didn't just improve airplanes, it improved airports. Dude, F1 is helping out the world. You clicked this episode and thought, hey, what did I get from my car? And now you're like, dude, F1 is way bigger than I thought. So this airports, huh? How do they do that? Well, another important part of winning in F1 is strategy, and that's not done by some race engineer with a crystal ball. No way. Teams like McLaren use custom computer programs to crunch through millions of possible race scenarios, including running order, track conditions, weather, and hundreds of other things. The program then determines the most likely scenarios and presents the team with different ways to maximize fuel efficiency, tire life, and optimize their pit strategy. It's like Moneyball for cars. You ever see that movie? Bradley Pitt is cute, but Jonah Hill, he is a creamy, functional dad. The UK's National Air Traffic Services worked with McLaren to adapt their race management software to control air traffic in the United Kingdom. Programs that started in F1 now predict things like which flights are likely to be delayed, the available space in the sky, and resources on the ground to optimize air travel. That not only reduces delays, it also means planes spend less time taxiing or in holding patterns, and that means they burn less fuel, lowering cost and reducing emissions. Also, reducing angry passengers. I will kill everybody! Formula One's engine development for the past decade has largely been about improving efficiency and reducing emissions too, while still making huge power. So current F1 combustion engines have a thermal efficiency greater than 50%, and that means over half the energy from their fuel is turned into power. And that is really freaking good. Most road cars are around 30%. Combine an efficient combustion engine with partially renewable fuels in the F1 hybrid system, and F1 cars are cleaner than most road cars. The current F1 hybrid system started out as KERS, or the Kinetic Energy Recovery System, a version of the regenerative braking system you'd find in most hybrid road cars. One early version of KERS, developed by Williams, stored energy from braking in a rotating flywheel. That energy could then be fed back into the system, sending power to the wheels during acceleration. It was a pretty genius idea, but F1 eventually went in a different direction, opting for battery-based energy storage instead. Even though it was developed for racing, Williams' KERS breakthrough was simply a way to store energy for later. So they adapted it to deliver electricity to homes and businesses on two remote Scottish islands, Isle of Ig and Fair Island. I hope I said that right. Is it Ig? The Isle of Ig and Fair Isle get all of their power from wind turbines. When wind is blowing, there's more energy created from those turbines than these tiny islands can use. But the wind isn't constant, and ordinary batteries can only store so much electricity. That means there wasn't enough electricity to go around once the wind subsided. So by storing excess wind energy in spinning flywheels, like the ones developed for Williams F1 cars, the islands now have stable power grids that can provide electricity even when the wind dies down. Sick, dude. Now, of course, we can't talk about what trickles down from F1 without saying something about F1 power in road cars. The latest example is the Mercedes AMG One, a road-legal hypercar with the same turbo hybrid engine powering Lewis Hamilton's race car. That's sick. Of course, they didn't just slap that in any old car, no. Just like the F1 car, the AMG One was designed using CFD and wind tunnel testing to maximize downforce and reduce drag. Also, like an F1 car, it's made almost entirely from carbon fiber. Now, carbon fibers are thin strands, typically just 5 to 10 microns thick, that are used to make carbon fiber reinforced polymer, the material we typically refer to simply as carbon fiber. Now, carbon strands are woven together like fabric and then placed in layers which are joined by plastic resin. That composite material can then be formed into various shapes and baked until it hardens. What you get is a structure that's stronger and lighter than most metals, which is perfect for race cars. That's why carbon fiber materials have been used in Formula One for decades now. The first carbon fiber chassis was used by Ferrari in 1981, and F1 has been vital to the development of this material. Carbon fiber techniques honed by F1 teams have been used to build bicycles, boats, and of course, road cars. So by using F1's lightweight carbon construction, the AMG One is estimated to weigh just 2,600 pounds. But Mercedes also wasn't limited by F1's regulations, so they gave it active aero and added 2 additional electric motors powering the front wheels. Each of those makes 160 horsepower, and combined with the F1 power unit, this gives the AMG One over 1,000 horsepower, a top speed of 217 miles per, and an estimated 0 to 60 of just 2.2 seconds. Still slower than a Plaid. That's kind of embarrassing. Those figures are estimated because the car still hasn't been delivered to any of the 275 people who will eventually get one. It was originally announced back in 2017 and is just now entering production in 2022. Of course, this is hardly a car of the people. The lucky few will pay around $2.7 million for one of the few F1 powered road cars ever made. The AMG One joins a short list that includes legends like the Ferrari F50, the Porsche Carrera GT, and the Aston Martin Valkyrie. What Mercedes learned in Formula One and in developing the AMG One is also having an impact on other more affordable cars. Last year, they announced the E-Performance range of hybrid V8s and 4-cylinders, which will be fitted across their model range. These will feature batteries with up to 560 individually cooled cells, a technology that's been adapted from F1. Mercedes says that the extra cooling increases battery power density to 1.7 kilowatts per kilogram, or roughly double what you'd find in most hybrid batteries today. So the 4-cylinder version will also feature turbos with an F1-style MGU-H. That is the hybrid electric system which uses thermal expansion of exhaust gas to generate electricity. It uses that electricity to spin up the turbo when the engine's at low RPMs, preventing turbo lag. It also harvests extra energy from the spinning turbo when it's not being used to recharge the car's main hybrid battery. According to Mercedes, that means they can extract the same amount of power from a 4-cylinder hybrid compared to a non-hybrid V8. So for F1 teams, racing isn't just about winning. Formula One is a laboratory where engineers can invent and refine technologies with massive budgets at their disposal. And that doesn't always lead directly to better road cars for everyone, but it does push technology forward in surprising ways, many which go beyond cars. In fact, there's simply too many technologies that have been developed through racing for us to mention all of them in a single video. So comment below and tell me what your favorite example is here that we didn't cover. That's also a very tricky way of getting you guys to call out what we missed. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of B2B. Are you guys excited for the new F1 season? We had a party here at the office for the first race in Bahrain. Maybe we do like a live stream hangout F1 watch party. Would you guys be down for that? If you would, leave a comment down below. Hit me up on Instagram at Jeremiah Burton. Maybe we can like live stream a race or do something, I don't know, where we can chat with you guys while a race is going on. That'd be fun. You can hit me up on Instagram at Jeremiah Burton. Follow us on Instagram at Donut Media. And until next week, bye for now. Thank God I didn't have anything in my teeth right there. Someone did that to Nolan once.
Really?
Nolan ate a salad, had a whole piece of lettuce stuck in his tooth the entire episode.
That wasn't